5 BP Guru. Today we're going to be continuing on with the day-night cycle, with the clock and things like that. We did the moon yesterday, so if you need a moon, go and check out that video first. But everything we're going to be doing today is going to be within our level blueprint. So open up your level blueprint. We don't need the event begin play, so get rid of that. And we're going to just start creating all the functionality for the day-night cycle. We're going to be mainly using our event tick to kind of sort this out. But to begin with, let's create a couple of variables. The first one, let's call this day length, and drag that out. We also are going to want a float times, let's just do it the old-fashioned way. Float times, why can't I get a float times a float? Let's just do a multiply. There we go, that's better, that's better. Plug that in the bottom, put your delta seconds into there, and then we want to get, if we pull this down a bit, we're going to want a few things. We want our sky sphere, and we want our directional light and our skylight, and also our directional light. There we go, like so. Now if you haven't done this already, just make sure when you click on your sky sphere, you've got your directional light set up as the function to change day, night, etc. Then we want to get our directional light, pull off from this and add actor local rotation, like so, and split this structure pin. And then put this delta length into the the multiply into the delta rotation Y, and hook those up for now. Off of the directional light, we also want to get our actor rotation. Oh god, if I could spell it like that. We also want to split this, and off the Y we want to get an in-range float. Set this to 100, like so. We then want to get our skylight. No, we don't. We want to get our sky sphere, sorry. We'll use that skylight later. And we want to update sun direction, so that every time the directional light rotates, our sky sphere will also rotate with it. We need another variable. We want a boolean this time. I don't know why I typed in boolean. We want to call this night time, and set this to be a boolean. There we go. Pull that off, set it, and we're setting that by our in-range float. And then we just want to put this into a branch, like so. Okay, so that's everything we need to do for this at the moment. We need to set up two new functions. Call one night lighting, and the other one day lighting. In the event graph, we then want to pull off and get night lighting, and if it's false, we want to get day lighting. So let's open up the day lighting first. Drag this over to get some space. And all we need to do for this is we want to add in an input. We want that to be delta, just call it delta because it's our delta time. Okay, that's where we're getting all this information from. Set it to be a float as well. We then want to divide that delta time probably by about 64. And we probably also want our directional light and our skylight now. Get the skylight and click on that as well. Control, copy that into day lighting, like so. Bring them up to both about here. We want to set the intensity of our light component. There we go, that's right. Like so. Plug that in and do the same for this. Set intensity of the light component and plug that in. Then we want to, oh wait there, we also want to get the intensity of these. So get intensity, get that intensity like that for both of these as well. Like so. We then want to get an finterp 2 and set this as the delta time. We want to get 2 of these. Set this as the delta time for this one as well. The intensity becomes the current for both of these, and the target we'll set to 3 for the directional light and 0.5 for the skylight. Interp speed, set that to 4 and set this one to 8 and plug both of those into the new intensities. So it looks a bit messy, but this is kind of what you should have by the end of it. I'm just trying to neaten it up a little bit so it makes it a little bit easier to see. Bring that one down here a bit. There we go. So that's what you should have at the end of your daylight. Now we can actually copy and paste this for the nighttime one as well. We'll just change the figures. So just plug that straight in there. We also need to recreate that delta input like so and plug that into the divide. And then we just need to change the figures. So for nighttime, we want it to be obviously a lot less. So I would set this to 0.1 and change the speed maybe to 3, something less. I think that should be good. And obviously this one needs to be even less, so 0.01, and I would change the interp speed to probably about 5. There we go. And that should be that done, and that should help that. The only thing you need to do is obviously re-plug in that delta speed, the multiplier, into both of those. And that's that setup. Compile all that, and then all we've got left to do now is I'm going to do the moon first, and then we'll do the clock. So the clock can be done second. Let's go into our persistent. Let's oh god, I do that every episode. Compile, find our moon we created last time. There it is there. Now it's obviously very, very small. What do we want to do with it? Well, first things first, let's open it up. Because I also thought, to save messing around a lot, you probably want to have it set up so that it always faces the center of the level. To do that, we will need to define a couple of things. We want to create a new variable. First off, we'll call this origin. We want that to be a vector. Compile that. And drag that out. We also want to get the actor location like so, and we want to minus the origin, minus the actor location from the origin, and then we want to normalize, and that's all fine. Then we want to rotation from x vector. There we go. And then we want to set actor rotation. Plug that in. We want another, well, let's do it this way. Let's go set actor scale 3D. Let's split the structure pin, We'll set this to a new variable, promote to variable. We'll call this, just call it scale. And we want that to be visible. And we'll set that up as all 3. Okay, and that way, when the actor's in the world, we can then edit that scale now, edit that size. Okay, so that should already start working. Why is it so very small? Let's set this to like 100. That might be too big. I don't know. Let's zoom right in. Where is it? Let's set this. Let's do this to 100. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 50. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now where are you? There you are. Beautiful. Okay, so there's the moon. It's in the scene. It's probably not far enough away, but it's okay for what we've got right now. I'm going to put it on the other side so we can actually see this in our scene. Let's put you all the way over there. You can already see the directional lights changing everything. Okay, let's push you right back, and then let's bring you up a wee bit. I think that's probably okay, to be honest. I'm going to make it slightly bigger. I want it to set it to like 200. Yeah, that's a bit better. And you can already see the glow will go to the world origin of the persistent level. So let's just make sure we can see it in our scene. Oh yeah, it looks pretty good actually. I quite like it just over the trees. There we go. It's right there. So that's that set up. So what we need now to do is go into the event graph. We want to get rid of all these because these don't matter at the moment. Let's create a couple of custom events. One's going to be night transition, and the other one is going to be day Oh no, we need to set the custom event. Sorry, custom event, day transition, and we want to create a timeline like so. Add the daytime into the reverse. We'll call this something else. Where is the? Oh, I can't rename it now. Let's click on it once. There we go. Call this day to night. Okay. And then we're going to do a bunch of stuff within this. But first of all, we need to track 3 floats. Like so. Click on the first one, rename this one to moon. Next one, we want to rename this to glow. And the third one, we want to rename to directional light. Okay, so let's do the moon first. Let's set one of these keys up to be 0, 0. And then we want another key to be 3 and 1. For the glow, we want to add 1 in again, 0 and 0. Add another key float in at 3 and 1.2. Come down to the directional light, and you probably guessed it, we need to add another one in at 0, 0, and another one in at 3 and 2.5. Compile that, come back to the event graph. Now we've got 3 new lovely things to work with from this point on. So now we need to get the reference to our 3 items. So let's get the moon, let's get the glow, and let's get the directional light. And then what we need to do is set scalar parameter value on materials for those 2. Click these into the update, like so, moon, glow, And then the last one, we just need to set intensity, like so. And so that one can go straight into there. Glow can go into glow, and moon can go into moon. We need to change the opacity parameter value on this one. And for this one, we want to change the density. Now, I'm pretty sure I named these correctly, so there should be no errors on that side of things. But of course, for you guys, just double check your namings. Or if you've called it something different, make sure you at least get the right names. Don't copy my names, otherwise you will have errors. So that should be the moon done. But we need to do one last thing with it, which is drag in our moon to our level blueprint, like so. And we just need to call those two functions. So night transition and day transition. There we go. Now, as I mentioned before, whatever you set your day length to, so I'm going to set mine to 30. The higher the number, the faster the transition. So if you want a very slow transition, set it to something like 1. But if you want something very, very fast, set it to what I'm going to do, which is 30. So let's see what happens when we click play now. Oh, it's not. Oh. Oh. Of course. There's one error that we didn't deal with. The directional light needs to be set to movable, and the if you go onto the details search, look for cast static shadows needs to be off for this one. Okay, now click play again, and there goes our moon. Our sun, should say. There you go, and it goes to day to night, and it goes very fast because I've set it to 30. But of course, you'll need to just slow it down. I just want to see, actually, did the moon disappear and reappear? There it is there. Interesting. Oh, it might be because I'm thinking about this now. It's because if I go to wherever my moon is, my moon material, I believe this needs to be set to 0. Let's apply. And it also could be that something's not spelled correctly, maybe. So let's. No, that's correct. Okay. And let's try again. See what happens. So it's gone. It appears with the glow, and then it doesn't disappear. Oh, it does. It does. It's because my day-night cycle is going so incredibly fast. I believe that it's just not aligned correctly. But that's okay. Yeah, it should be fine. It does disappear and appear. I'm going to slow this down anyway at some point, probably in the next episode, to test some things. So it should help a lot. Because this obviously runs at a time, don't forget. So if this is taking 3 seconds to disappear, it will, of course, run longer than the day-night cycle. So actually it makes sense that it's not quite working, because that's running, this function here is running longer than the day-night cycle itself. But you can play with those figures and slow it down or speed up the transition if you're running a faster day-night cycle. But I don't think anyone's running a day-night cycle that fast. Okay, great. That's working, so that's phenomenal. All we need now to do is do the clock, and then we can set that up to the HUD so we can actually physically see it. So back into our level blueprint, we need to set up a new function now called clock, like so. Just put that there. And we also need another input for delta, like so. We need to call a float. Why can't I get a times float? It's this easy. Let's plug that in there. Great. We want to times this by 240. We need to get a new variable called tick, and this also needs to be a float. Pull this in. Get, no, not set, get. Plug that into a plus, but make sure it's on the bottom. Plug that in there. And then we want to set that tick. Okay, and what that's doing is every time this runs, it adds this tick. Then this will obviously be updated. Then it adds again, resets the tick, and just keeps doing it like that. We want to get a truncate, like so, and then we want to make time span, like so. Set this into the seconds, but in the hours, I add this as normally about 6, just from where the time sets. But play around with it. It's wherever your sun starts is where you want your hours to start. Okay, so if you're starting your sun at 8 a.m., you want it to start at 8 a.m. Okay, so 8. But mine normally, I usually set it about 6. That works for me. And then we want to promote this to a variable, and just call this time, and set that into there as well, and that will become your time span. Now, from that time span, we want to break it now, because we want to get these as numbers now for our HUD. Okay. We want to also cast to the third person character, and we just want to get the get player character, like so. Okay. Now we want to open up that third person character quickly, just to get where is it? Third person, just to get a couple of variables for the time. So one we want to call time. Now if you wanted the days, you'd also have to make a variable for days, because if you noticed on here, you can actually call the days. So every time that goes up, you increment it by 1, or well, it would increment itself by 1, and you would just be able to copy that forward as well. So from this, let's set time, like so. And we just want to we want to make an append. Let's just call it like this, append. No, wrong one. Let's get a string. That's what we want. Add a pin. In the middle of here, we just want to add this little colon-y thing, whatever it is. Just because that will separate the hours from the minutes, and then we just want to plug the minute into there, and we want the hours to go into there. Okay, that's how it should look, and then that return value can be plugged straight into there, like so. Okay, and that's basically your clock setup there. Compile everything. Go back to the event graph, and we just want to plug that clock into here. Plug that into there. The delta minutes from the X needs to go into there as well. So that's how it should look. Compile that, and then we just want to set up a very, very basic HUD just for this. So user interface, get a widget. Yeah, user widget. We'll just call this player HUD. It's not really a big deal. Player HUD. Oh, there's a space, it doesn't like that, does it? Player HUD. Okay, and then we just want to set this. Okay, we want to get a canvas panel. Drag that out. Now 100 by 100s is just no good. We could just click fill screen actually. set that to full screen. There we go. We got a HUD sized box now. And obviously, because we're only doing this, it doesn't really matter where we put everything. But so just get like a text box like this for now. Obviously, put yours wherever you want it. That's perfectly fine. And all we need to do now is create a binding. Change the name to time so it's easier for you guys to see it. We then want to just cast to third person character like so. Get player character, and we just want to get the get time value, and we can plug that straight into there, and that should set that up. Okay. Ooh, is it because I have not compiled? I have not compiled. There we go. Compile. Yeah, everything should be okay now. And then compile that. There we go. And in the designer, don't forget to anchor that to the bottom right. Compile, and we just need to now let's just get an event begin play. We want to create widget, player HUD, get owning player. I don't know if that's going to like that actually. No. Let's do a quick cast. Cast to third person character. Plug that. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, doesn't like that either. Let's just see what happens if and then add to viewport. Compile. Play. And at the bottom left you can see we have a time now, and that will go as fast as the day-night cycle tends to go. Now, as I said, it's important you get the right time, because obviously it thinks it's 3 in the afternoon and obviously it's not. So you need to kind of decide whereabouts. Either you need to rotate your sky sphere to the correct position you want it to start in, or you need to amend the clock hour. So I'm just going to click play one more time just to see if I can find the sun. So it's spawning at about midday. So let's go back into the persistent level. Let's open up our clock. Yep. And just set this to 12. Compile. Start play. There you go, and it goes down to 1, 2, 3, 4. Now again, it probably wants to be a little bit later than that actually. Play with it yourself and get it correct to how you want it. Then it should align a little bit better. I'm going to slow this down first off. I like mine to sit at 1. I think that's a pretty good time. Compile. And then in the clock, I'm going to keep that at 12, I think, and just see what happens. So you'll see the clock slowed down, right down now. Now it's not starting at 12, it's starting actually about 3, 4ish in like PM. So yeah, that's definitely not 12. That's definitely not 12. I'm going to just change this one more time. Let's start this at like 15. You could change the minutes as well, so it starts at like 3:30 if you want to. That looks a little bit better. Cool. So hopefully this tutorial has been really helpful to you. All I need to do now is find a way to skip the night now. So obviously if it gets to like 8 PM for example, we will then reset the clock at that time. But I've got to work that one out. But I assume it's going to be like setting the tick, I guess, is what I'm going to attempt to do. But But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. Hopefully it's been really helpful to you guys. Yeah, leave a little comment with anything you want me to cover, and of course like, and if you wouldn't mind, subscribe. You can always change your mind down the line. But thank you so much, guys. Thank you for all your support so far, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.